So welcome
Yeah.
to another monthly Camberley Chess Club Zoom meeting. And we're going to show a game. Sid's going to show us a game. And I think it's a game that you've played. So it's not a high level top game. Hopefully that will be instructive for beginners, improvers and people, moderate level club players. So I'll hand over to you, Sid.
Yeah, thanks, Martin. So let me share my screen first, then I will start explaining this game. So this game I played in the Imperial Chess Congress, and this was my FIDE rating was 1270 that time, and my opponent he had the ECF rating of 1550 or something. Okay, later on he got a FIDE rating because he had played a tournament in the beginning of April, and he played a FIDE tournament in the third week of April, and then he got the FIDE rating. So for me, I was not aware he had a ECF about 1550 or 1600, and my ECF was also around 1500. So, but his ECF was little bit higher. Okay, so anyway, so this was a 90-minute game, and I was on the black side. And what I will do is I have the score sheet with me, and also I've written the time at different junctures so that later on it is a good idea to reflect where I was thinking unnecessarily and all. And maybe I'll invite you guys for comments and all. So let's see how the game proceeded. My opponent started with e4, and earlier I used to play e5, but of late I've switched more to the Sicilian, and I want to play in a more combative style. So I played c5, knight f3. I will also give you some references, like I played the Sicilian Najdorf here, and I will give you some free references and some paid references also, what you can do to learn this opening and stuff like that, because this is again a complex opening and a very nice opening to play. I mean, which is extremely beautiful. Okay, so I played d6. I'll come to the Najdorf position quickly first. d4, striking in the center. White is playing d4. He wants to, this is the standard move. C captures d4, knight captures d4, knight f3. I mean, knight f6, knight c3, a6. This is the starting point of the Najdorf, right? Everyone is anyone not familiar with the Najdorf thing? Till this point, everyone would be aware, right? Martin and James and all, you would be aware of this till this point, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Up to here, no problem for me.
Yeah. So here, like in this position, I have recently played 2-3 Najdorf games in the classical. And Najdorf is a complex opening for black also to play because you have to know several systems. And the most dangerous as one is the bishop g5 one, the notorious bishop g5, which has a lot of theory. It is the most aggressive one from white. And I mean, one has to know that also if you want to play the Najdorf. Okay, so in this game, my opponent didn't opt for the most aggressive setup. One more thing I will tell you: this Najdorf is played by the top grandmasters very quite often, and that is why you have immense theory. Okay, but the point is that even though there is so much theory, you will see that like I was listening to Anish Giri, I'll tell you what Anish Giri has explained this. There is one critical thing you have to understand in this opening, and then it becomes slightly simpler to play the opening. Otherwise, it looks quite daunting to play the opening. Okay, and the critical thing is most of the time it is the fight around the d5 square. I will show it to you and explain it to you why it happens. So here my opponent played bishop e3. You guys would be familiar if you have played the Najdorf. You would see this is called the English attack. This was pioneered by Dr. Nunn and some players in the mid 80s. And that is how this name originated. Bishop e3 is again a very aggressive setup, not as aggressive as bishop g5. It has some ideas of bishop e3, f3, queen d2, castle queenside. This is one setup which is typically followed in a lot of other things in dragon and all. So bishop e3 is what my opponent started with. You can also play knight g4 here. Okay, knight g4 is another setup. You can play that, but I didn't want to go for this. I wanted to play the standard Najdorf move e5. Okay, again, I will tell you one thing. You can also transpose into the e6 Najdorf, which is the Scheveningen, and that is another system. But there you are lacking space. You do not have a space, but that is also very complex. I like the e5 setup, and e5 is generally now more common, though you can play the e6 also. Okay, you have to see what you are comfortable, what you have studied, and what you can play. Now, as you see at this point, again, white has several ways. He can play knight f3, knight d2, and knight b3. And let me take a pause here, and you will see the d5 square is weak. Okay, the fight involves around the d5 square. The main thing in the Najdorf is that the main battle is around the d5 square. Okay, so this is the key point. Okay, so knight b3, and here again you have several setups by black. You can play bishop e6 also, bishop e7 also. Both are equally playable, and both can transpose into each other. I played the bishop e7 setup. White plays f3. F3, why is playing? Because he wants to eliminate the knight jumping to g4 and attacking the bishop, right? So you want to eliminate this, prevent the knight jumping from f3, f6 to g4, and that is why you play f3. I played bishop e6, and I have the score sheet. Now white played queen d2. So what would you guys, what I will do is I will ask you guys a lot of questions and ask you what would you go for and stuff like that, so that I can invite your thought process and then tell my thought process. So what would you play as black here? Again, there is no one answer, okay? There's not that there is one tactical position where you have a solution as such. What do you prefer? If anyone has played Najdorf, what do you prefer playing here?
I've never played this before at all, and I don't actually like it for black.
You don't like it for black?
No, because I don't like the d6 pawn, and I worry about the b6 square.
Okay. So see,
but I'm okay. I probably castle.
Okay, you'll castle king side. What about you have to?
I'm not going to castle queen side, so I think I better castle king side.
Yeah. So first I will ask Roberts, or then maybe Pratt. What would you prefer to play?
I think you want to play d5, but I would worry playing that before we've castled, and I think white's got a move or two before they can castle. So yeah, castle, and then with the plan of d5.
And do you play Najdorf? You have
No.
any idea? No. Okay. What about Pratt?
Yeah, I mean, I have played it, but it was a long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd probably be at this stage, if I was thinking at all, probably wondering what the Grandmaster games I've looked at, what they did, as opposed to what I should do, is probably the wrong mindset. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I think I'd probably, if I couldn't decide whether to play knight c6 or knight bd7, I'd probably compromise by castling and waiting to see what happened.
Okay. Anyone else wants to chip in?
Have you got a view, Carl?
Carl, you want to tell us something
at all with this this system?
I think his mic switched off.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's funny is you guys have all said the moves that I was thinking of. I initially thought of castling, and then I was like, well, you could also continue developing your knight with knight b c6 or knight b d7, because your opponent hasn't castled yet.
Okay.
So I was thinking about like holding off with castling, but I think castling's totally fine.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Yeah. So see, now I'll tell you how the opening theory has evolved in this. So again, as I told you that there is no one correct answer. Earlier, grandmasters used to castle from black and let white castle, and then you will have a pawn storm on both the sides. Okay. But now the modern theory, by modern theory, I mean around 15 years back, what most of the grandmasters are afraid of this uh, H4, G4 thing. So what they do, like the guy Maxime, who is the biggest proponent of Najdorf, they play the space grabbing move H5 right away, preventing G4. Okay, again, it's not like Daniel King. He has recommended castling. He played this system, castle queenside, and then you will generally Black's knight goes to D7, not to C6 in the setups, because you want to jump to C5 and stuff like that, or sometimes to B you play B5 and knight B6, knight C4. I'm just telling some moves. So you don't develop the knight to C6. So here what happens, both the sides do the pawn storm, and more often than not, it is more dangerous for Black. Okay, so what modern grandmasters are doing here, and I like this a lot, especially when I see the game of Maxime, and I had seen little bit of game, I mean, the modern recommendation, and that is to prevent G4 right away and play H5 right away. So I like this move a lot. And this is what Grandmaster Anish also recommends in the Chessable course. That also I would give as a reference. You can look at the free version also, which is good enough. If you are above 2000 FIDE, then you can buy the 24-hour course. Okay, I mean, H5 is Grandmaster Anish's recommendation. Yeah, Martin, tell me.
Yeah, Sid, presumably once you commit to H5, you are committing yourself to not castle kingside, correct?
Not necessarily.
Oh,
You are
wow.
you
okay.
are doing you are waiting and watching, but in a way you are preventing the or making it quite difficult for white
Yes,
to go ahead
you
with
are making the kingside attack difficult, but I wouldn't dare. I like H5, but I wouldn't dare castle kingside as black after playing it. That sounds ridiculous.
It is slightly, see what has happened, the space grabbing thing, the modern theory, the way it has evolved, the space is becoming a very important element in chess. Like, see, lot of pawn pushes which were not considered
Yeah.
possible earlier, they the computer or the artificial intelligence networks, they are showing that it is possible. Okay, so at least I try to use the recommendations from the top grandmasters, at least in the opening. I don't use engine too much, but chess-based database I use to see what top grandmasters prefer. And most of the top grandmasters, they don't prefer the pawn storm from black side. It is considered slightly dubious, and I think it is uncomfortable. At least for me, I don't like this pawn storm, and you have to give something to take something to get something. So here I am definitely here definitely you are right that black is giving black's king side is becoming unsafe, but it prevents the attack, and this I feel is much more important than making your you can sometimes play g6 and castle, and you'll see how I tackled this. Okay, so anyway, h5 is what Anish recommends in the chessable course, and I had seen the thing and I was confident. And even there is another grandmaster, he has a chess based DVD. What is his name?
So this is what you played, is it?
Yeah, I played this.
Okay, great.
Because I knew this. So he also recommends H5. So I went ahead and played this. Because I mean, I need to know some theory to play a Najdorf in the classical game, right? Otherwise, it makes no sense to play in the classical game not knowing the theory. Because typically people will castle. And one more thing, in the Najdorf again, in any opening, you have to have an appreciation of the opening. You have to see some games and maybe chessable free courses and stuff like that. But also you need to play some online games, and you have to play some classical games. Then only you'll get appreciation of the opening. Otherwise, you can't get it. Okay, you can't get a feel. And I thought what better thing than to play some games and get a real feel of it. So okay, and one more thing, the Najdorf, you generally play knight bd7. Knight doesn't like to go to c6. Okay, it's not generally a good square. Again, everything has to be taken with a pinch of salt. There is no such rule. Independence is the most important thing in chess, but generally the knight doesn't develop to c6. I just wanted to tell that, because a lot of times bishop g5 happens and you want to play knight bd7, and If he captures, then your knight is capturing and stuff like that. And your knight from d7 will jump to c5, or sometimes after you play b5, then it will jump to b6, c4. Okay, so I played h5. And here I was expecting this white to castle. In fact, the same position had occurred in another classical game of mine 1 month back, and I was on the white side. I had castled that time. Okay, so castle queenside by white is a perfectly acceptable way of playing. And in fact, when I looked at the theory after the game, there are 3 moves. One is knight d5, one is bishop e2, and one is castle queenside. I was expecting him to castle queenside, and this was quite natural. Then I will castle probably right now, or I can play knight bd7 and then castle. But I can see it is not necessary for me to immediately castle. It is also in h5. It is not that you have played h5, you are not rushing to castle. Sometimes you can wait and then you can bite the bullet. Okay, so he didn't play this, and I was little bit surprised by the move knight d5. Later on, I referred the theory and I found this is another approach. This is a more positional way of playing it. So what would you play in this position? I will ask again, throw the ball to you. What he has played knight d5. So what would you like to play here?
Did you say you're asking me?
All of you, yeah. Each one of you can tell me your thought. What would you play if you were there?
I've got some thoughts, but I want to let somebody else go first.
Okay.
What immediately pops out to me is just knight takes knight. That is what immediately I come up with.
Okay, you want to play knight takes knight. Okay, anyone else? Robert, what do you want to play?
Yeah, I can't really see too much going on. I think knight takes knight, pawn takes, and then you have to move the bishop, but the bishop's only got like d7, and then it blocks your knight. Like you said, you want the knight to go there. So I don't know. I think this is a sit and think for.
Well, you can go to f5 with
You
it.
can go to f5 also.
I'd do that.
Yeah, but then you're walking into g4 with tempo.
G4
They
is
can
like
set it up.
G4 is prevented right now, at least, right?
Yeah, but is the bishop misplaced if it's g4 comes with tempo and then it forces lines open on the king side, and then I don't know if you've got anywhere to castle.
Okay, okay. So you would, what would you play then in that case?
No, that's what I mean. Right now I can't see anything I like. So
What about
about
knight bd7? Because you've got to cover the b. If you don't take the knight, you've got to worry about b6.
B6,
which is always
yeah.
what I was worried about in this type of position. So knight bd7
Is your move, okay?
guards the square and covers the knight on f6.
Okay, okay. So that is your thought. Now let me tell you my thought. And later on, I checked with Anish. I didn't find the best move. And this is very subtle. Okay. In fact, I showed this game to another guy, one friend of mine, and we discussed for 5-10 minutes. So he told me you played a lot of rotten moves and all. But okay, so anyway, so that was good feedback for me. And he's pretty strong. He's around 1750, and we discussed for 10 minutes. So, and he told me something which Anish has mentioned in the course later. He has watched the entire course, the 24-hour course. So I was thinking, I'll tell you my thought process first. See, this definitely this e5 d6 structure, the perennial problem is the backward d6 pawn.
I
Right?
know what you're going to say.
Yeah. So if you take the knight, and somehow you should take the knight, because what happens that there's a transformation of the pawn structure, and the d6 pawn is not accessible so easily. You cannot attack it because white will capture with the pawn. He cannot capture with the queen. So you should eliminate the knight because of this reason. Now, okay, so that the d6 backward pawn weakness is gone forever. Even though it's a backward pawn, but you cannot attack it. It's not on a semi-open file. Now, I thought for 5 minutes here, and I took it with the bishop, because just like Robert, I was little bit thinking that this knight is best positioned on f6. It is hitting the d5 square, and that is why I played this move and went with this idea that, okay, the knight is well positioned. I don't know whether bishop f5, whether it is great or not and stuff like that. But later on, my friend, when I showed it to him, Anish has told a very subtle thing, and this is, I couldn't have thought about it even if I had thought maybe for 30 minutes. I think there is a slight difference between bishop captures and knight captures. And what is the point? The point is Anish is recommending to take with the knight and take with the pawn and then play bishop f5. Now you would ask, why is this? See, in a lot of openings, there is a battle for a single tempo. If you have played the Queen's Gambit, white is waiting and both the sides are playing cat and mouse. Who plays d captures c4? Okay, if black, you are waiting for one tempo. So what he was telling, that whenever white has wasted a move like on queen d2, then then what you should do, you should take with the knight. Not at this point, sorry, what I played here. So see, here what Anish is recommending to take with the knight, because white has wasted a move on moving the queen or the light squared bishop. If either of the two moves have been played, then you have wasted a move. Now white will have to play bishop d3 at some point, because this bishop is quite strong. Imagine if the queen were on d1, then white wouldn't have wasted a move on queen d2. Are you getting the point? That the difference is that if the queen were not played, like imagine this position. Let me create a position like at this point, instead of queen d2, okay, if suppose white omits this queen d2 and plays a move, say, what do I do?
Bishop d3.
Bishop d3, yeah, and then h5.
That would change things.
Yeah, and h5, and then no, then it will not work. So
No.
something like
Why not g4?
Something I will have to go from here. Okay, here, like if I start with this, in this variation, you will see what will happen is, but you got the main crux, that the tempo thing is what you are fighting for. Like here in this bishop e6, f3, let me try to demonstrate, h5, and here suppose white plays this move, knight here. Now, if you, in this case, white has not wasted a move tempo on moving the light squared bishop or the queen. Now, if in this case you play this move, this is not best.
No.
Why? Because when you play here, he has saved a tempo by playing bishop d3. He has not moved the queen.
Right.
Okay. So in this case, you have to take, see, it's not that it is losing or anything. Don't get it that. Okay. There's a subtle thing why this is best, why this is not best. Because of a tempo thing, Najdorf is very sharp opening where every move counts. Okay, it's always a tempo battle. So here, if you take with this is what is recommended here. Are you getting? Because if you take with the knight, you're losing a tempo. So in this variation, you should take with the bishop. In my game, I should have taken with the knight, because he has not wasted a time on, he has not wasted a move on either playing bishop e2 or queen d2. He has not wasted this. So if I exchange with the bishop, it is okay.
What was black's move in your game that was the tempo move? Bishop e7.
Yeah. So I'll come back to my game. Yeah. So here I played this, here this, f3, bishop e6, queen d2, h5, and he played not castles, he played the knight d5, right? And when the moment he played knight d5, he has wasted one move on queen d2. So what I should do, I should preserve the bishop, but I took with the bishop itself. I parted with my bishop. Anyway, this is not losing or anything, but this is not the best or what not the top grandmasters are playing. Okay, this is Anish's
very subtle and very minor in terms of advantage.
Correct. But you know what? Every tempo opening theory is all about winning half tempo or here and there, right? Especially if you have seen the Queen's Gambit, a lot of variation, you're trying to save a tempo. That is the key thing. And here, or half tempo. And here also you are saving a half tempo. And he says that this is the best thing is what he was recommending. I told you I played with the bishop because I was not aware of the subtleties, because even though I thought for 5 minutes, but I couldn't appreciate the key difference. Now I know that. Now, one thing you have to appreciate, a d6 pawn is not a backward pawn on a semi-open file. Otherwise, in this Najdorf structures with black, you have to worry about the d6 backward pawn, and you have to play the liberating move d5 at some point of time. If you don't do that, you are in trouble. Okay, that this is a conceptual thing, the very strategic concept. Okay, so now let me see what he played. Okay, he took this, so I was a little bit happy in one sense that I do not have a backward pawn on a semi-open file. So I played knight bd7. I have to develop the knight. Anyway, I thought, let me not castle immediately. There is no rush. So I wanted to play knight bd7, developing move. And he played a slightly surprising move, at least to my taste. I was expecting again some bishop move, bishop e2 or bishop d3 and castle king side, I think, or castle queen side also is still possible. I was thinking that even now he might castle queen side, or he will play bishop e2, bishop d3 or castle.
Can we guess his move?
Yeah, guess the move.
C4?
Yeah, so he played c4. Okay.
I
So
like it.
yeah, so he played c4. I was little bit surprised, but I think this is also one of the lines. Okay, I mean, at least this is a positional bind. He's trying to bind me on the putting a bind on the queen side.
Would
Yeah.
it be possible for white to play instead of c4 a4? That's a very Sicilian move.
A4. What is the idea?
Well, it's nothing great. I mean, it's just a probe. You might want to play, follow up with, depending on what happens to the black minor pieces, you might want to play a4, a5 and try and put a complete clamp on the queen side.
A4 is possible. I don't know whether I mean I'm not aware of the theory at this point.
Neither am I. No,
but
I just mentioned
possible problem.
In general terms, I mean, it does announce probably, as with your h5, which is even more provocative, that perhaps you're not going to castle as perhaps you would have done earlier, long. But for all of that,
That's a good point.
I think it's a good move to just gain a little space and just wait to see what you're going to do with your minor pieces, because we've had comparatively few exchanges, and I don't think that we're about to chop off a load more material either.
Yeah, A4 is possible. I mean, definitely a possibility. I have, but I was expecting either queenside castle or bishop e2, bishop d3. But yeah, definitely it is possible.
I mean, I wouldn't have. I agree with what you're saying. I just wanted to add that point.
Yeah, A4 is also
no one else has said it.
Certainly, A4 is also possible. One has to investigate and think what exactly is the thing. Now here, when I was showing it to my friend, okay, I didn't come up with the idea. He told that in Najdorf, because he plays Najdorf quite often, and he suggested that you should play the move, you should have played the move A5 right away after this C4 move. Okay, he suggested a move A5 because it is cutting the path of the knight. Okay, it is this A5 is a very nice move. What I played was, I will tell you what happened. I was thinking of playing rook c8. Then I thought, okay, he will jump with the knight to A5. Okay, and maybe I can play queen c7, but I will never be able to push b6 because the knight will land on c6.
Yeah.
Okay, so I immediately cut the path of the knight by playing b6 here. But what he was telling is that you should play a5 actually and cut the path here. This is a better way because you're grabbing space, and then later on at some point you can play b6 if required. Your knight can sit on a beautiful outpost on c5. Okay, so I mean, the moment he played c4, I was little bit worried about knight a5 jumping, so I played b6.
That's interesting.
Yeah, not the worst move, but perhaps not the best. Okay, it might.
Just recapping there, Sid. You go put the pawn back a minute.
Yeah.
So the worry is the knight going to a5, which is a worry.
Yeah.
And logically you play b6, but actually a5 isn't an obvious move to stop knight a5, but it's actually clever.
Yeah, but this is what, if you have played a lot of games on Najdorf and if you have seen Grandmaster games, then only you can come up with the move a5. Okay, because he has played Najdorf, he's pretty strong, 1750 FIDE is quite strong. So he knew this theory, and I mean, he knew the appreciation that a5 is quite often played, and that is why he could play this a5. I was playing b6 because you're restricting the knight.
Yeah.
We know this, that if the knight and the pawn are on the same file separated by 2 squares, then the pawn move restricts the knight, right? So both the forward jump of the knight is restricted. So I went with the logic and I played b6, not the best, but a5 is perhaps the best because you're grabbing space also. That was, I mean, I was very surprised with this move. Not very surprised, but it was not very intuitive to me. So I played b6 here.
It could transpose, of course.
It can transpose, yeah, definitely. Now he played a very surprising move. What do you guys think he would have played here? Anyway, maybe we should not be guessing his move, but anyway, what would you play? At least I was not expecting this move at all. And perhaps I don't think it is the best move.
Oh, what's
Rooks-
white to play?
Rook
Yeah.
c1.
What? Rook c1.
Yes.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
looks
that is a natural
natural.
move. But definitely, I was also expecting something like Rook c1 or Bishop e2, Bishop d3, something like that. But he played a very, very surprising move. And since he saw that his knight is restricted, he cannot jump at all. So he went back, knight
Huh.
c1. He's trying to read out his knight via d3 and bringing it, because the knight is completely restricted. The forward jumps of the knight.
Oh, it's going to b4 and c6.
Yeah. So it is, he's trying to reroute and bring it to another loop. Okay. So this was an interesting move. At least I didn't think about this knight c1. And at this point, if I would have thought for around 10 minutes, I think, roughly, because one thing I felt that white's pieces are on the back foot. And white is quite, I'm just one move away from castling, but black is at least 2 moves away from castling. And I felt that white lacks harmony between his pieces. And I was contemplating that generally if a side is lacking in, is not developed, then you should break open the center. So I wanted to play e4. And I was contemplating whether I should play it right now or after castling. That was my main thing. And I was thinking after e4, he will certainly play f4. And then I'll jump with the knight to g4. I'm first telling the moves so that you can visualize, and then I'll move the pieces. So e4, f4, knight g4 is what I was thinking. And maybe then I rejected because he will play bishop d4. I'll castle. I was again analyzing it today on my own. He would not part with the bishop. He would play bishop d4 and castle. And this is another interesting position, which is equal. Probably.
Wouldn't you try to, sorry to interrupt, wouldn't you try to neutralize the bishop by playing bishop f6 yourself?
Yeah. So then later on, I can play bishop f6 and all. This was, I was contemplating, and then.
No, I meant immediately.
Immediately.
Yes. I'm not saying it's great, but I think, yeah. And then I mean.
Here, right away.
Yes. Just to show, look, mate, you know, this is going to be a tough game.
You can probably, and if he plays h3, then your knight will go to h6 sort of thing, right?
Well, I mean, bishops first and then move on.
I'm just it looks to me in this position that black is got the advantage. I mean, there's much stronger players here than me. What does everyone else think? I mean, it looks to me like e3 might be a threat, or
yeah, but I was thinking e3 is pretty strong. I think even if you're losing a pawn there,
yeah,
you're opening things up
after
on
h3
and
there's bishop h4 check.
Yeah, so
bring down the house.
Yeah, but then.
So here you are. What would white play? It is white's turn.
Well, you tell me. I mean, this, as I say.
Let me think. What would white play? White would.
Well, the obvious thing is to take, but I think that's bad.
Yes,
no,
it
not
is
taking
bad.
is bad. Taking would be bad because you are helping black to develop.
I'm more than happy to, I played that to neutralize the bishop.
Not knight e2 perhaps. Is that any good?
Knight e2, yeah, or bishop e2 sort of thing. Okay, you want to play d3. I mean e3. You want to play e3. Okay, bishop e2, e3, and so I was
No, maybe not immediately. No, I think having the knight, the bishop having plodded all the way to f6, I think I would owe it to myself to exchange bishops and maybe play queen f6.
okay. Okay,
And then
so
put a smug look on my face. I don't get a cup of coffee at that point.
okay, yeah. See, that is what I was not sure what to do in this point. You are telling this possibility,
Well, I
but
don't know. I don't want to give away my e-pawn. I've just noticed the e-pawn is up.
yeah, e-pawn is hanging. Okay, so there was some decision to be made, and I was not sure whether I should push e4. The conceptual thing is that white is right now at this moment, white is lacking in harmony, and I
Yes.
wanted to break
Yes.
with e4, but I thought I will delay it. That's why I was thinking, and I castled here first. Okay, but the point is there is a difference. Now he played bishop e2, and still I broke with the center e4. But the point is that when he comes here, f4 and knight g4 here, then he took this knight off, right? Bishop g4 and hg4.
It's not as strong because
Yeah, this is what I was thinking, that probably breaking with e4 right away was perhaps slightly better as compared to doing it after castling. What do you guys think?
I don't like castling.
No, I don't like castling.
Yeah, okay. So yeah. So this was the thing. I was thinking that my king is also in the center and whether I should break with e4 right away or after castling. So I took the decision of delaying it one by one move. And maybe I was also contemplating, I was thinking that perhaps this decision was not the best taken by me of castling and playing e4.
No, I don't think it is. But
What do you think, Roberts? What is your viewpoint?
I think castling might be slow. I quite liked the idea of e4 because it forces white to do something.
Yeah.
And because they had the bishop on f1 and the knight on c1 still.
Correct.
I thought it was quite confrontational.
Yeah, so correct. So that is another thing. So in chess game, I mean, a lot of junctures, good moves also come to our mind, but the decision making is very difficult, and perhaps appreciation of the timing. Okay, I was thinking, let me move my king to safety, and I played this move and then break and then played e4. But the difference, there's a subtle difference. He played bishop e2 and exchanged it, and now it's not the best. I also feel, I agree with you guys that perhaps e4 there was better than playing it one move later. The timing was not appropriate by me. I delayed it more than what it should be. So this was what happened. Okay, so let's go ahead. I also feel like that what you guys have said. So here at this point, after HG, I was also thinking that maybe he might not castle and he might think about h3, h4, but my bishop queen battery was there and I would be able to give some checks. So I was not so worried. His king is also in the center. I have rook ac8. So I was not worried if he plays h3 and he doesn't like to castle. Okay, so I would.
Couldn't white play g3 at this point, preparing for h3?
G3, preparing for h3.
I think that has a pleasant look to it.
Because that stops bishop h4.
Okay, so I would play knight c5, suppose, just thinking.
Okay, I'll be honest, I wasn't even thinking what you would do. I was just thinking of white's plan in isolation. G3, h3, then he's going to open the h file, which is.
And one more thing, bishop f6, and see, if you keep the king in the center, I have counterplay. It's not that black is lacking in counterplay, and I was not worried that he will keep the king in the center. I felt that is quite dangerous for him, and I was okay. He castled actually.
Oh wow! So the other idea I thought of was knight e2 to cover the g3 squares in case of bishop
That's
h4.
pleasantly flexible, isn't it?
Yeah, and then you've got the chance to castle queen side if you want to, or attack on the king side with h3.
Castling on the queen side with this c4 thing is
maybe.
not a great idea. I felt
No.
it was weakening because
No.
I would play rook a8, queen c7,
Sure.
attack this pawn, and
The
castling.
Sicilian by definition is risky.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, play
correct,
the
correct.
Petrovs if you want to, you know, play the French as I don't, as I do all my life. But
Yeah.
the Sicilian for both sides
Is risky. Yeah, yeah, it is a
risky and
street fight.
also let me also add, exciting. So you know,
Right.
you pays your money and takes your choice as the wonderful. Well, I know that's a cliche, but it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
As white, I just want to attack on the h file now, and you know, even if I leave my king in the middle, I just want to attack.
It's quite cumbersome. I mean, to play g3, h3, and then wait for black to respond fairly benignly is quite slow. I'm not saying it's wrong, but
it's
doesn't
slow.
stick.
But what's black going to do in the meantime?
I don't know. That's why.
So that's what I'm telling. One of the
Knight
plans is I
c5.
have a d3 square. So sometimes I might think of a knight c5, knight d3, rook a8.
Doesn't that just help white though?
Yeah, we leave our knight on c1 then.
It does help white, yeah, but not wildly.
Other thing is rook c8, and this c4 pawn is weak. Bishop
What I
f6
want to do
is
is induce. I'd like to induce b3 from white, and then stick the bishop on f6 and say, you know, go to hell.
Yeah, so that's what I felt, that white definitely there's a possibility of white retaining the king in the center and doing it, but I at least felt that somehow I will be able to generate counterplay. Whether it is correct or not, that is a thing for discussion. My bishop is active. I mean, it is coming to h4. At least there's a threat, not a very important threat, but I might induce g3, and that will create more weakness. In that sense, f3 will become, f3 square is also going to become tender and stuff like that. So I was not worried. I was expecting him to castle king side. He castled king side. It is definitely a thing to consider what would happen if white doesn't castle and go for a real confrontation without castling. But castling queen side looks more dubious to me. I felt either he'll castle king side or he'll keep the king in the center. That was my feeling. Now, this transformation, this one thing I felt, I was thinking about the play. See, if I think about this thing, going back here at bishop e2, it is not necessary for me to play e4. Sometimes it is, I can even play calmly queen c7, I mean rook c8, queen c7, and sort of that way. It is not necessary, knight c5 and stuff like that. It is not necessary to go in the way I was going. Either I should have played e4 earlier, or e4 here might not be great, in the sense that the transformation which happened might not be the best for me. I also feel like this, that transformation, because I'm forcing the variation, which perhaps is not good. I can do a slow play. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? That it is not necessary that I push e4 after castling. If I had chosen the path after castling, then probably playing e4 is not the greatest idea. The greatest, I could play slowly, rook c8, queen c7, knight c5, and stuff like that. So, okay, so this is what happened. So he castled here, and I played rook c8. Anyway, the rook should come to the half semi-open file and put pressure on the c4 pawn. He still is lacking harmony, in the sense the knight will take more time in developing it it has to come via e2 d4 or e2 c3 sort of thing, or b3. If he jumps to b3 again, it makes no sense. So he played move b3, as James was telling. Okay, it was very tempting for me to play bishop f6 sort of thing, and keep the bishop on the long diagonal. The pawns are like this, and still there is some disharmony in white's pieces. I still feel that the rooks are split, as Danny keeps on saying, split rooks. But okay, it's not going to be there for a long time.
No.
Still, there is a rooks are split at this point of time.
Knight's coming to E2 soon.
Yeah, but knight is coming to E2. It's not going to be there for a long time. But at this point, after B3, I was contemplating. I think I didn't find the best move. I was again, I was a little bit impatient. I felt that there's more disharmony, and I wanted to play the break B5 here.
Oh, right.
It has to be looked at. You're quite right.
Certainly looked at, and but what was happening if he doesn't react, then after taking the c4 pawn will become weak, but he would take this. He took this and I took this. Now this pawn on b5 is going to become quite weak, right?
Yeah.
You would see that this pawn on b5 is, even though I've got a semi-open and not a semi-open, now it's a c file which I have a control. Both the sides have trumps. I have a weak pawn on b5. But as a compensation, I have a control over the C file. So, I mean, this was my play. I mean, I played this B5, definitely a candidate move. You can, I mean, I felt definitely it's a candidate move. There was another way of playing, which I feel is possible, where you play. Okay, first let me show you what happened, then I'll come to why I think there's another way of playing. Okay, so I went here, I took this, and at this point, he played knight e2. Okay, now I felt that my pawns on g4 and e4, they are becoming quite weak. He might jump to c3, and suddenly it's a double attack, and my pawns will become weak.
You're telling us what you're thinking.
Yeah, I'm telling you my thought process, what I was thinking. And then later on, I thought what could have been done better. So
F5.
So yeah, so I played f5 because of this rationale that, okay, the pawns are weak. And also one more thing, why I was why I played f5, because this bishop, at least on the c1 h6 diagonal, is becoming less potent. Okay, I'm in a way saying that your bishop is bad. It is not entirely bad. On the other diagonal is quite active. But I wanted to play f5 also to shut the bishop. Okay, I mean, the bishop has good square on d4, but otherwise it's not very active. That is the reason I wanted to play f5 here and make these pawns quite solid and get control of the d3 square. If my knight can land on d3 in my dream, the fantasy square, then it will be fantastic for me.
Yeah, but e6 is a problem now.
Yeah. So the moment I played this, after that, I realized that, okay, f6, I mean, the moment I play f5, I have given up the control of the e6 and even the c6 squares. So anyway, if you want to get some squares, you have to give some squares. Okay, these pawns were so terrible, I had to give up some squares. Okay, in that sense, this e6 square has become really, really weak. And this is what my opponent tried to demonstrate after this. After f5, he jumped with the knight to d4. Right? So that is why I'm telling you that later on I thought I was again impatient. What I should have done, I should have played f5 right away.
F5 and then bishop f6.
Yeah, bishop f6. And
why not play bishop f6 and before f5?
Then these pawns will be perennially weak. The g4 pawn might fall, and the e4 pawn might fall. If you play bishop f6 right away, right, he will move the rook. But the point is that unless you have a tactical justification, these pawns are weakness and they will definitely fall. That is the reason why I later on thought I should.
You've still got b5, which you eloquently explained. I'm not saying it's great, but it's just a subtle. I mean, if the knight now comes to f6, you could say in general terms, well, I'm guarding both the pawns, you know. I don't know. The most committal, I'm not saying it's good, bad, or indifferent, but the most committal move in that position is f5.
Yeah, that is true. Certainly.
You know, I would expect that this is not going to be a draw, you know.
I don't want to give up what is the result of the game. That we'll see.
No,
Okay.
no. But if you think after 92, the square D4 is like a sort of multi-story car park. I mean, there's lots that can happen on that square.
Yeah.
Multiple piece exchanges. You know, the heavy guns are coming out. The knight is reviving if it was ever. You know, is a dry dock at the moment.
Yeah.
Your choice of words is brilliant, James. I get what you're saying.
But there is another point, okay? With this knight e2 jumping to d4, if my knight lands from c5 to d3, I have an excellent outpost there.
Oh,
That
yes.
is why I wanted to maintain my pawn on e4 at no cost. I want to lose the e4 pawn, because I will have a good square on d3. I'm not saying the best in the world, but quite good square on d3.
Yeah,
so that is why
D3 for your knight looks wonderful, but actually, you as white, you just ignore it.
I think later in the game, in a way, this game is interesting in many aspects, but because in a way we're playing the middle game before the opening finished.
Yeah. Now it's the middle game has, at least for black, all the pieces are connected. The middle game has started. White is also.
Yes, indeed. No. I know that. But for all of that, it was a little bit. Anyway, okay.
So you played F5.
No, what I will tell you, instead of b5, what is my conclusion? Let me tell you that. F5 here, he jumps with the knight. I play bishop f6. He plays the knight here, knight e4, knight d4. I take this, I eliminate this knight immediately.
You have to take it, I think.
He takes bishop d4. I play a5 first because I want to create this outpost. I don't want the knight to get kicked out from here. And then later on, suppose you play rook fc, whatever rook you want to come to c1. Then I'll play knight c5. And this is an equal position. It's equalish. I will have a good square on d3.
And you've got a good pass pawn on e4.
Yeah. So this is what is my assessment. This is what I should have strived for. This is a decent position.
Yeah.
Equal chances for both sides. I can't say which one is better, but my knight is definitely going to land on d3 if he doesn't eliminate it.
What do the audience think? I like white here.
I like white, but the pass pawn could cause issues. But
I know.
I think the pawn structure is just a lot better for the endgame.
Pawn structure is definitely better.
If it was an endgame, I think, if it condensed to an endgame, I think I'd prefer white.
So what would you do? You would exchange the bishop or the knight here?
No,
he
didn't say that.
No. If it condensed into an endgame with this pawn structure, then I think it's bad for black.
Pawn structure is definitely good for white. Okay,
white can push a3, b4 at the right time.
Yeah, I think taking the knight improves black's pawn structure.
And black's got double pawns on the G, but the E4 pawn in an endgame could be so.
So that's what it is. A quite dynamic game. I mean, what I'm thinking, I'm not saying that maybe white is better or marginally better, but this is, I think, was the best way of playing for me, at least from this moment. So this was like a decision point, and I took the decision of playing the break b5. But with this b5 break, what is the downside is that I have a weak pawn on definitely a weak pawn on b5. Okay, the other position which I showed you, where we have a bishop for a knight, which we were discussing just before the break with the heavy pieces on the board, that is also a transition which black can choose. Okay, black is the one who is deciding the course. So whether to break with b5 or to play f5, this is one important thing, important decision and juncture of the game. But I took the decision of playing b5 immediately. So which is debatable, what is better, what is not. I feel, at least on hindsight, that playing b5 immediately is creating quite a weak pawn on b5. So that is my take. Okay, after knight e2, as I was telling, I felt that the pawns are going to become really, really weak. and I have to preserve the pawns at any cost, because if the e4 pawn drops, then I will have I won't have the d3 square, and my dream of moving the knight from c5 to d3 will not be realized. And at least I should have a good square on d3. At least this was my dream, the fantasy position, that on one day, if on a good day, my knight should land on d3 if possible. And at least that was the dream. And whether it is realizable or not, or whether it is objectively correct or not, that is again a point of discussion. So he played knight e2 and I played f5. This we had come to, and he played knight d4, obviously. And here he had, at this point, he had 26 minutes at the moment he played knight d4. And when I had played f5, only 35 minutes were left. And this was a crucial juncture, because he is going to jump to e6 and forking my queen and rook. So I realized that, okay, in pursuit of preserving the pawn, and this pursuit of also going to d3, I have given up an important e6 square, where this knight is going to become menacing. And I was thinking what to do. And after thinking for some time, I thought I can, even like in Dutch defense and all, we sometimes see that queen e8 and queen h5 idea, going for a kingside attack, or something. This idea started cropping in my mind. So what I did was I played rook f6 with the idea that maybe sometimes I can swing the rook to h6, and possibly even when he lands the knight on e6, I can even go for an exchange sacrifice. If things come to shove, the push comes to shove, I can sacrifice the knight for this. I can do this exchange sacrifice, or even there's aggressive idea of rook h6, queen e8, and queen h5. So at least some hazy idea is emerging from this position. Yeah, tell me.
Can I make a point, Sid?
Sure.
I wish we hadn't castled, and we would have saved a tempo, and then we'd have our rook bearing down.
Yeah.
That's easy for you to say, Martin.
Yeah.
In retrospect.
Well, I said don't castle, didn't I? I did.
Yeah. That is another thing. That was another decision making. Okay, like in chess, there are different decisions which we are taking, and we have to, when we are introspecting and looking at the game, we have to see whether the decision was correct or not. And as we were discussing, probably castling was not correct. E4 should have been played right away. I mean,
was this what you played, Sid?
Yeah. This is what I played. Rook f6.
What was your evaluation of if white just takes b5 and then has two connected passed pawns there?
Yeah, certainly it's better. Okay, I mean, there is no doubt, but I have to prevent this knight jumping to e6. That is even more dangerous. If I allow him to jump to e6, then I'm.
The amazing thing is you could take on b5 and then come back. You've got time to come back even.
Yeah. So I would lose. That's what, on hindsight, I realized. That's why I said that this break was probably not correct, because this pawn is really, really weak. And relegating a rook to b8 also doesn't look like great. And apart from that, there is no way of defending the pawn. I have to create some counter chances.
Instead of preventing knight e6, can you just try for some counterplay? It just looks a bit
like what?
Like what?
I don't know.
White's position is certainly better. Okay, that's why the b5 break.
If you don't know, what do you think?
No, I'm just asking. Is there some idea?
What about knight c5?
Knight c5 is definitely was one of the ideas, one of the candidate moves, because it is preventing the knight jumping to e6, because I'll exchange
b4.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, the problem of knight c5 is that the b4 will kick the knight.
And then you get to d3.
At least you get into d3.
D3, but the fork is coming. Dream is realized, but I have the fork.
I do realize that. I was
This I
only
had
speculating.
calculated in the game.
Ah,
This
I
I had
see.
calculated. Go here, here, and then the fork happens.
Can you
No,
try?
I don't think you need to play b4.
Probably not. Probably not.
We need to speed it. We're still in the fast lane of the Sicilian.
Yeah.
In which case,
But here you're winning an exchange. White is winning an exchange, right?
if
And
all,
black has
if
no
all things,
competition.
I know that, but that might not be enough, or it might not be the only option that we need
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Something
explore.
better.
Yes,
Yeah.
my hope would be, and I'm no optimist, never have been, that there might be something better. Or
I
more
thought you
interesting.
were an optimist, James.
Do you reckon?
In a
Yeah.
game, I was. I mean, I realized that the after
Martin, I'll
this,
never speak to you again
Can
after
you,
you've spoken.
can you try bishop f6 pinning, like pinning the knight?
There you
but
are.
it doesn't
didn't.
work. It doesn't work
Why
because
not?
knight e6 hits the queen.
So
Bishop
You move the queen.
c3. Bishop.
then you move the queen.
Oh yeah, you could just move.
Just
the queen.
move the queen after that. That's not a problem.
Okay, so you're telling this.
Maybe.
Where will you move the queen?
Well, E1, E8.
E8. Okay. After E8, the knight is well planted there.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a
sure.
thorn in my flesh. Okay, the rook will.
So what
move
do?
away.
You then move the rook.
Yeah, white will just move the rook away. The knight is
Then
planted.
we play bishop, C. Oh no,
D3.
you're going
This
to
is
play the
all
rook
the-
there.
This is an
Okay.
altogether different game, isn't it? But we're right
Yeah.
to expect. We aren't trying to be cocky, cocky about it. These variations do need banging out.
But now we could play rook F7 now. We could to avoid the exchange.
Yeah, you can do that. Or 1 minute. What if he takes the rook? You are taking this rook, and no, I think
It doesn't look very natural. Rook
knight
F7,
f8,
but
bishop a1, then knight
We've
d7.
avoided losing the exchange, which is worth considering.
Yeah,
of course it is.
correct that you have done. I'm just thinking rook takes knight. Okay. Yeah. So it
So
is
that was the
possible.
result of bishop F6, which was a suggestion to shake it up a bit.
Yeah, so this is possible. This is another line, but I feel that white is still better here in
Oh,
this
of
position.
course.
Oh yes, he is. But we're still writhing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and intuitively why I would have dismissed, or even if I had not seen it, I don't like the look of this knight landing on e6, and my
No, I
pieces are paralyzed here.
We all
Bishop-
agree with you.
Yeah, so this is why I rejected this. I was
Yeah.
contemplating that I might give up the exchange. Okay, it's not that we
It's
should not be.
interesting, though. You're absolutely right that the knight in there is terrible,
Yeah,
and you probably want to give up the exchange. But
correct. In the light of Petrosian, inspired by Petrosian.
yeah, but the same as if Black's knight got to D3 and then you ignored it and kept your major pieces and minor pieces off the squares that the knight controls, it then becomes less of a problem.
Yeah, but one thing is there, when the knight lands on d3, right? I get the full control of the c file. You will not be able to contest the c file. That is one thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is the thing. And here, instead of allowing the knight on e6, I was ready to give an exchange or going for rook h6. I'm not saying that this is the best idea, but
don't
this is.
exchange it straight away. Move your queen to e8, and then you can always do it later.
Yeah. So that is why I played rook f6 here.
Yeah,
I'm just telling you
okay.
my thought process and
Yeah,
the decision
makes
making which
sense.
I did.
In order to facilitate these ideas, all of which I'm sure are viable, you would have to accept in your heart that you're going to sacrifice the B pawn.
Yeah. The B pawn is
Yes.
that is why the B5 break on
Psychologically,
Yeah.
when you're sitting at the board, particularly as you've got a difficult, if not necessarily losing, but a difficult position as the black player.
Correct.
Better to say that I've sacrificed it rather than, oh damn, I've lost it. Or or reproach yourself that in earlier variations you could have preserved it by playing more timidly. But on the other hand, for the sake of the team or for the sake of your score, the most you could have hoped for was half a point.
Yeah. So this pawn b5, as I said, that b5 break seems not a good one that time because this pawn becomes weak. and white will get A and B connected pass
Yes,
pawns, which
yeah.
are
yes.
very,
And
very strong in the
without
endgame.
having played any good moves, no, it's just he's just played
Yeah,
naturally.
natural logical moves.
Mm,
So, okay, so here after rook f6, he played rook fc1. He could have taken the pawn immediately, but he wanted to contest. I think rook fc1 is not the best because I immediately jump with the knight on c5,
Yeah.
preventing the knight e6 jump forever. Okay, because this
But then
I
he
did,
goes c6.
you mean b4.
Well, all
No,
b4.
knight c6 here.
Knight
Isn't
c6
that quite
is
strong?
also- Yeah, but you just move the queen.
Knight c6, I will move the queen, right? What idea you have on knight c6 there?
well, it has an annoyance value. I mean,
Yeah, I
maybe
think it's just really strong.
Oh,
And
you can hack off the bishop on e7.
But that bishop is very passive. Hacking off that
Yeah.
bishop is generally not
True.
making sense there, right?
What
Yeah,
about
but I think
b4
it
then?
gets closer to an end game, and I think that's just good for white. I think that's
Yeah.
Knight
Oh,
c6
yes,
is
it
possible.
is.
He grabbed the pawn on b5. Knight c6 is also a possibility. He
I
grabbed
think
the
the
pawn.
b5 pawn's got to go in it.
Yeah. So this
He's had it coming to him.
he
Yeah.
could have
He's
done
been
this
asking for it.
Yes.
also. So yeah,
Who
knight
is he
c6 is
thinking
a
is
choice.
anyway?
Yeah, knight c6 is definitely a choice, Robert. What you're telling, definitely possible. But he wanted to take the pawn here. I mean, the pawn is gone. I realized I cannot defend this, and I also realized, in fact, it is obvious that in the end game, black is totally lost. Black has to play for tricks. Objectively, it might be objectively I might be lost, but I have to play for tricks and play for counter play and hope for the best. And so I
No, he's right.
immediately I jumped with the knight on
Yeah,
d3
you might as well put
because
it in there.
yeah, the dream has been realized. I mean, at least I have control of the c file now. Okay, some counterplay is coming, even though the end game is dreadful. But it might have come too late. Okay, but still I jumped with the knight to d3,
You say
realizing it's a
control. You say control of the c file, but if you play rook c3, then you haven't got control of the c file.
rook
It's been
c3.
contested, but I don't see that as a
Yeah, rook c3. Yeah, you're correct. Rook c3 doesn't. But if you trade, then the control is there for black.
No, if black trades, white's got the c file.
Yeah, if black trades, then no, you have to trade or you have to play rook c3, right? My knight is
Rook c3, rook c3.
Rook c3 is possible and probably the best move, but he exchanged right away, giving me the
No,
control.
that's
that's bad.
a mistake because
Yeah.
then you cannot go on to the c file with your rook.
Yeah, correct. So this rook c3 is definitely the best move, and
Yeah.
then probably I will have to switch to counter attack only. Rook at 6, whether it works or it doesn't work, I'll have to go with that idea. It probably will not work, right?
Rook h6 followed by bishop f6.
Yeah. Or there is another thing. If you play rook c3, I have queen a4.
Oh, okay, didn't see that. Yes.
No. But you will take the rook with a check, so I can't play queen a4 is not. Queen a5 is not possible. Otherwise, I was thinking of
you need to look at those lines. You're quite right.
But you need to look at the lines. You're right, and queen d7 and various other lines. But white has not lost to the c file, which is what you implied.
Correct. You are right. If he exchanges, then he loses the control of the c file, and this is a mistake. Certainly, what you're telling is right. But after rook c3, probably I'll have to play queen d7 and try to think of the bishop bounce, bishop d8, bishop a5, probably that type of thing.
Oh
if he exchanges though, say if you go back.
Yeah, this is what he did. Yeah.
So if you exchange, queen takes, knight a7, and then you get knight c6, and that's a nice square.
Okay.
It is.
Something similar happened, but knight a7. Okay, you want to play knight a7.
Knight
a7. Quite aerobatic, isn't it? Yeah. The knight comes. Yes.
Knight a7 is definitely a good square. After knight a7, I will have to play queen a6 probably, right? What else?
Yeah, like b7 or queen b7.
Um,
Just move the queen, yeah.
Yeah, just move the queen somewhere. Yeah, queen. Something similar happened. He jumped with the knight, but not exactly this way. Probably queen a8, and then when you move the knight, I will have to move the bishop backward and try to think of the bishop bounce.
I think white can, as the saying goes, win at his leisure.
Yeah, white is definitely winning. Okay, I mean, I'm not
Oh,
saying
yeah.
because white has this connected pass pawn. There is, even though my
Yes,
knight
you
had
can,
landed.
if you've got nothing better to do, you can start pushing the pawns.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Knight has landed on d3, but there is no attack as such. So definitely a winning position for white. What Roberts is telling is also possible. In fact, something similar is what he played. This thing you can do like this. The bishop might think of bouncing back to this square on. I mean, the bishop has to be rerouted. It's not able to come to a5 right away.
The black rook's out of play completely.
Yeah. So that's what I rerouted the.
Yes, it's a shame that knight fork.
Correct.
It was the ghost of a knight fork. In fact, it didn't pick up the exchange, did it? But it was enough for us to thrown into confusion.
Yeah. Correct.
Even though we mentored the black pieces,
maybe black should have put his rook, tried to get his rook over to the queen side instead of trying to, I don't know.
Yeah, I think the b5 break itself was incorrect. So he went,
Yeah.
Robert, what was your idea? The same thing, but he's routing via
Might as well
d4.
go back, yeah.
Via
Yeah.
d4 to c6. Okay, that is what he played. And I
Yeah.
went with queen a8, not queen b7, because I wanted the bishop not to be hanging. I will show you what was the idea at this point.
Okay, yeah.
So he played knight c6. And because if I were to play, had I played queen b7, then I couldn't have played bishop d8. I'm thinking of bouncing with the bishop to some square. I will have to play rook f7, rook b7, and then bishop b6. That was my idea.
yeah, you have to encourage yourself. You're quite right.
Yeah, so this is the way I was thinking. Okay, even though at this moment I had at this point bishop d8, I think I had 13 minutes when I played bishop d8. But the idea is rook f7, rook b7, and then bishop b6. At least I want to trade the bishop here, or at least activate the bishop, because this bishop was not doing anything. I have to.
White should just chuck his pawns forward.
Yes.
Yeah, correct. And that is winning. That is the easy. And
It's winning, but it's just you.
Correct. He did that only before he was winning. Okay, at this point, with correct play, it is obvious that it is winning because rook f7, and that is why I realized that. I mean, when I was thinking, analyzing, I felt that b5 there was not correct. b4, rook f7, he played a4, as Martin, you are telling the pawn storm. Then I played rook b7, preventing b5. If you play b5, rook b5 will happen. There's a pin on the a file, right? You can't play. This move is preventing b5 push, and also thinking I will trade the bishop because this bishop was a really lame piece. And
but white wants to trade, so it's fine.
Yeah, bishop. So that is fine. I mean, at least, but I wanted to trade the bishop and, if possible,
I think that would afford some checks, if not tactical.
Yeah. So I was hoping another for trick. Maybe both were in time pressure. I had 10 minutes. He also had 10 minutes. Maybe if he's not careful, if he plays some tactical mistake like this, then I'll take this. But he didn't fall for this thing, cheapo. So he went with the move. He didn't play b5.
A5.
So hold on. So after this rook b7, he took this bishop. I didn't like this move. There was no need to eliminate, give up this knight. The knight was good, even though if I come and trade the bishop, it is okay.
Yeah, but
less pieces to
White's
defend the
winning,
pawn.
so he might as well trade.
Yeah. So this is also winning. Okay, it's not that, but I think okay. So he did that.
It's probably a matter of opinion. It's
correct.
You ignore the knight on d3, and you don't try and do anything where you need to be on any of those squares.
Correct.
It's useless.
So at this point, when he played b5, I mean, when my queen came here, I was thinking that maybe I can switch the queen to h4.
Ooh.
Okay, and the queen and the knight, they are a very powerful combination, and do something there. I was dreaming there that.
Can you do g6, rook h7? Have you got time?
Yeah, so this is the timing thing, okay, whether it is possible, but okay, the queen, at least after the trade, the queen has some hope of going there, even though it's not, it is wishful thinking and there's not much there, but the queen can go to h4.
Perhaps,
So
perhaps g6 first.
g3, you mean?
No, black plays g6.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
and then
switch,
you get
okay,
some
and switch it.
flexibility with the rook.
Yeah, okay.
There's no point. the queen just
Although
going-
g3 is going to come anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, g3 is going to put a spanner
Yeah,
in the wheel,
yeah.
right? So anyway, I thought of something that, okay, if he gets scared or something, then it is possible. Because sometimes in a practical game, you have to look for tricks also,
Yeah.
right? It is not that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this position, you've got to look for swindles.
Yeah, trick, some tactical shot, some mistake here.
Yeah.
So here I was, I cannot. He's threatening to play b6, right? I mean, b6 is
Yeah.
very good move, and I realized that knight is not doing anything, so I went back and
I told you it was no good on d3.
yeah, so I'm trying to prevent the push b6, right, in a way, because you cannot push b6 right away.
Just
Here
take it.
he should just take it and
Yeah, just
simplify
take
into an end game, and
Then you got
and
so many pass pawns.
yeah, but this yeah, so that is the best way, but he
That's a
was
win.
ambitious. Yeah, this is winning with correct play. This is
Yeah.
absolutely winning. This
Easy.
d5 pawn is slightly weak.
Wow.
Yeah, but that
No.
doesn't matter. They have to, if they spend tempo getting that, then they just lose on A and B file.
Yeah.
Surely.
Yeah, correct. So here, obviously, he should take the this thing, but he wanted to play in a more ambitious way. I think he was thinking of putting queen and bishop on the battery a1 h8 and deliver a mate. So he went with
Right.
queen b4 with the idea that the queen probably can come here on d4 and
Well,
stuff.
why
like
didn't
that.
he move it to d4 in the first place if that's what he's
Yeah. So I don't know why he didn't come to d4
No.
right away. I don't know why he
Well,
wasted.
No, his
till-
plan is to
Knight
support the
b3.
d4.
Knight
Yeah,
d3.
Yeah, I went back to knight d3 because he is trying to support the pawns, okay,
Yeah.
the pass pawns and push them. That is the
Yeah.
reason he's playing this. Otherwise, he couldn't play this, right?
Yeah.
He cannot push the pawn a5. The pawn is dropping, so that is the reason he played queen b4.
But hang on, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Queen knight b3. Doesn't that threaten to pick up the exchange?
Sorry,
but-
yes, right?
But not in that position where if the queen comes to d4 immediately.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Yeah. Queen d3.
Yes, you're
Queen,
right,
that
yeah.
is a mistake.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There might be
Queen,
some way out of it, actually. I
Yeah,
don't
there
know.
might be, but yeah, no, you're right. That's
Not at this
spot on.
time, right? There
So
isn't.
here he went here, the
Yeah.
rational, I told you the
Right.
rational, and I jumped back. I thought, I understood that, okay, I have to play for tricks. Maybe I'm totally
Mhm.
lost, but I have to not lose hope
Yes.
and see if there is something there. So after knight d3, he went with queen d4. And this is
Okay.
also winning, but I immediately seized the control of the c file. Now I'm thinking I'll play rook c2 and go for counter play,
not?
no matter what happens. It's all about timing, and my
What
queen
about-
is coming to h4 and the rook is coming on c2. I might have some counter play.
You
What
might
about B6?
have something.
And you,
B6?
yeah, b6, I think. Or,
Yeah. So b6 is winning. He should actually have
Or
calculated, but
A5.
now it's a timing thing, and both of us are in time trouble. Okay, less than 5 minutes. So here,
Who's in time trouble?
Both
both
of
of us,
They
because I
both
told
were.
you,
Okay,
right,
right.
this is 30-second move. Both
Right.
of us are under 5 minutes. And
Right.
now it's my only hope is to just attack and pray
Yes.
and see what happens.
You've got a plan. You said rook c2,
Queen
queen
h4.
at h4. Then what?
I mean, at least there is, if you provoke g3 and provoke some weakness, if you play g3, then the queen will come to h3 and attack,
Sure.
right? That is
You're
the
hoping for some mistakes.
some mistakes. So
Yeah.
definitely b6 is winning. Okay, Robert, what you're telling is right. White is quite quick here,
What-
and white should not.
What does he do? a5.
So what he did was, after the move rook c7, he realized that maybe I'm planning queen h4.
Ah,
Prevented the move. He prevented g3.
now you've got a chance.
Yeah, g3 is not correct. Okay, Robert. So I know that you're laughing,
Yeah.
but yeah, g3 is definitely not a good move. b6 is winning. Okay, I also calculated later on that b6
it's
is winning.
unnecessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the it's not the blunder of the year, but it's just.
So now you play Queen E8.
No, I didn't go there. I switched my plan because Queen E8. What will I do? Okay, Queen E8.
H5,
Queen
Rook C2.
Yeah, so I want to play. I just played Queen C8. I want to play Rook C2, Rook B2, Queen C2. Okay, I have a attack on the 7th rank or the 2nd rank, whatever you want to call. My
Hang on, what's your plan?
Rook C2,
Yeah.
Rook B2,
Okay, and then
Queen C2.
yeah, it's slower but good.
Yeah, at least I mean you have to
And you're on the
calculate.
queen side. You're pretending to try to stop the queen's pawns coming down.
Yeah, I'm pretending that okay, as if nothing is happening, even
Yeah.
though death is close.
Good.
But okay, I'm presuming nothing is happening. Everything is hunky dory, and I'll attack you till and see what will happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so this Queen C8, I think at this point also he's winning, but after 1 or 2 moves, it's not like that. He played Rook F1. He started going passive.
Oh, he's defending.
Yeah, he's defending because again in time
Badly.
pressure you start seeing ghost. You start seeing that okay, there is
I'm
a
very
counterplay.
surprised he didn't try and capitalize more.
Yeah, certainly. Okay, before this, if he even now B6 is good enough. It is.
Of course it is.
He's so winning that he could even throw away the rook for the knight and get a pawn and still win almost. He's so winning with those connected fast pawns.
Correct. But
Perhaps he didn't have for all of his proficiency. Perhaps he didn't have the experience to realize that. I don't know.
But what rating Sid was your opponent?
Yeah, his FIDE rating is now 1400 and something. 1460.
And what was yours at the time?
1270. I'll show it to you.
Pardon?
1270.
1270. Yeah. So I mean,
Have we heard of your opponent? Who was he?
I'll show Mark Crossedale. He's from the Hammersmith Chess Club.
yeah. I mean, it's a good game of what I would call general club players, isn't it? Because and you've actually both played extremely well, but now there's I think for
in the time
your
pressure
opponent, he's starting to lose it because he really should win now.
Yeah, because what happens that in the time pressure, right? When you have less than 5 minutes, your brain freezes, and then you start seeing ghosts.
Absolutely.
I mean, anyone who has played practical chess would know that over the board it is a little bit different. I'll show it to you. It's 14.
No, you're right. You're right. Okay, so he plays Rook F8.
Rook F1. This is incorrect. I mean, not a good thing. I played Rook C2. I'm just.
You're doing that anyway.
Okay, I realize now he is. It is now touch and go. It's not very easy. His pawns are becoming slow. It's not. I think here also like a problem study. You are still winning, but it will require very precise moves. So he played A5. I just played Rook B2, and now he realized at this point it is not winning for white. Okay.
Now you've got a 2-move mate.
Yeah. So he went Queen B6.
Well, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. That doesn't stop the 2-move mate.
No. He went for perpetual.
Oh.
Queen D8, Queen H4.
Oh, okay. And can you stop that?
No, I can't. Okay. After Queen B6, I played Queen C2, and I can't do anything. Now both of us were less than 1 minute. Okay. He played Queen D8. Yeah. The game went for 3.5 hours. Okay. I mean, he was after the B5 pawn. He's totally winning. But this point, it is a draw. He played this. Both of us were under 1 minute. He played this check. I went here. He played this. I offered a draw because there's nothing. We'll just repeat here, and it's a perpetual check.
What happens if you go King F7? I assume that doesn't work.
That doesn't work because the point is he has the same thing. I have no control. What will you do?
King G6.
Yeah, he'll take this pawn.
Yeah, it's getting worse, isn't it?
Yeah.
But hang on, King H7, no more checks.
No, hold on. I didn't do it correctly. I don't need to take the pawn. I think. You come like this way.
That might not matter.
Queen E6.
Oh,
now it's bad. Now it's bad. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I will not be able to escape because the point is that how will you escape here?
No, you can't escape now. That's that. In fact, that's losing almost because.
Yeah,
white
you might.
picks
I
up
might
all
get
the
mated.
pawns.
I might get mated also.
Well,
if
you're going to lose the F pawn and the E pawn, and it'll guard everything if you're not careful.
Correct. So there is no point of going for that ambitious. Okay, both have
So
one.
go back a couple of
That's
moves.
very surprising, but
Yeah, go back a couple of moves before you committed yourself to being able to be. That's
Use-
it. That's
use the
enough.
C file to such effect.
Yeah, I went for the counterplay. Okay, I mean immediate. I'm not saying it is best. It is
The
losing at
G3 was a mistake.
G3 was a mistake.
Carry on.
And after that, after G3,
I think
played
Rook
Queen C-
F1 was a
Rook
length.
F1 was another mistake, and
That's
then
a mistake.
I entered here.
now.
Push the pawns for.
Here it is becoming very tricky.
So what did White play?
Well, chess is
What-
very tricky.
What he played
Right.
A.
So this is the point where Black must have a better move because
What will
I-
played
You're
Rook
right.
B2.
When the rook moves,
yeah. Hang on. Before you play Rook there, now there might be a better move for Black.
I think my friend, what he said, this is like a study is winning 1 minute. So if I play B6, not B6. Okay, let's see B6 or let's think about this.
So
A5,
Black's is-
A5 will
Go on.
not work. A5 is
well,
very
can't
small.
we?
You push this, I come here. No, this right now it has become slow, right? Because now it is coming very fast.
hang
do
on.
It's
that.
going very fast.
What did you show us before?
The game,
Yeah.
A5.
So A5 is better than B6 because the Queen.
Okay,
got
Rook B2.
perpetual check. Yeah.
Now it is, I don't think it is holding for,
What
no,
we got-
at this point, white is not winning. What will
So
you do?
hang on. So Queen.
I would almost be inclined to take the rook. And
No, you can't. do that.
well, hang on. Those pawns are very strong.
Oh
I
yeah,
wouldn't
they
want
are strong. You're right.
Yeah.
But
also-
that, okay, so if you take the rook, I
I'm
don't
not
think,
claiming it's great, but I'd like to look at it now,
Well, but look.
however briefly.
okay. So Queen B2, Knight B2, then what is your plan after that?
Well, you keep pushing.
Well,
the pawn.
Yeah, certainly you have to push, but what, B6?
yeah, B6, I suppose. Yes. As long
Okay,
as I'm not-
so I don't-
savage to
that has
death.
to be calculated, but I don't think it will.
yes, it does, but
work.
that's chess, isn't it?
You'll have to come here.
Yeah.
One minute, Knight C5, it is inviting Rook C1, so I have to think Knight C5 is correct or not.
Well,
Even I
yeah.
can-
Queen C3 attacks the
C-
bishop and the A pawn.
Queen C3,
Yeah,
yeah,
because if we can get a check out of it, we'll like it. But
correct, Queen, yeah, double attack.
I think psychologically, that
No, but this double attack is, okay, you want, if you play B7, then take the
bishop back to F2.
bishop F2, okay, then your pawn falls, right?
Hang on, we pushed the wrong pawn, I think.
Martin is working for the other side. I've long suspected it.
No,
How
Queen
did you
takes will
know?
not work. Queen Rook is, I don't think objectively that will work for white.
Doesn't look.
No, I'm sure it won't. But in the interest of entertainment, not just. Well, no, but you both of you, this is a game in it.
What
gotta
about
look at it.
Rook C1? Queen takes, Knight takes Rook C1.
Rook C1 here?
No, Queen takes Rook.
Okay,
Yeah.
Queen takes
Queen
Rook.
takes B2.
Knight takes
B2.
Queen. Rook C1.
Rook C1, yeah, certainly an idea. Okay,
She's got a. Oh,
Yeah, that has a lot going for it.
then probably Queen B7. What will
Yeah,
I play?
Queen. I like Queen B7.
B7.
Yeah, that looks fine.
looks fine for who? White.
Black.
Well,
Back-
B6.
Really?
Well, you're attacking 2 pawns.
No,
Yeah.
it's not about the quantity, it is also
Yeah.
about the quality. You cannot go for,
Well,
Yeah, but you're
example,
forced to-
A6 at this point, for example.
A6. What is your idea there? Okay, hold on.
Well,
A6.
just
Well,
A7,
A6,
A8.
I think this could be
A7,
the-
A8. It's
This
quite
could be
good.
the path to salvation.
Okay, okay, 1 minute.
Looks
So
reasonable.
take the pawn, I
You
come
just
here.
take the ball.
And then I do queen,
no,
and
it's
then I
not.
do rook c8 check and queen.
Oh, 1
Yeah,
minute. Queen b5. What is the next move after queen b5? You want to play a7.
Yeah.
yeah.
A7, then queen b7 again. Will not work.
Okay. All right. Then
Well-
we have to move n knight somewhere.
Yeah,
Why
so
won't it
if you
work?
play this, this is not working, right? You play this, I come here.
Knight.
And then after that, black knight, if it joins the party, then this pawn will get lost.
Can you check
hang on,
first?
rook
Check
rook
first.
B1.
rook a1.
Look, A1, yeah.
Rook
No, we
A1.
can block it with Queen A8.
Queen a8 will be there, right? Blockading.
Oh, then we move a knight up. Anyway, it's
The problem is
tough one.
controlling the square, the
Yeah.
promotion square. So can you check with the rook first before playing a6? Ace, was it a6?
It is still
Yes.
possible that white might be winning. Okay, this like
Yeah.
a study. It is
Well,
possible.
this could be something we can plug into a computer.
No, we should use our own brain later on.
Well,
engine
Not at this-
analysis.
Not at this time of night. I'm an old.
Well, yeah, I like this.
What happened in the game, by the way?
I showed you, right? The perpetual. After
perpetual.
this,
Oh
perpetual.
yeah. Sorry.
after this, in an actual game, you won't go with queen b2 and think, okay, let me gamble completely. Maybe some gamblers can do like that, but mostly people will not do that.
The question: have you put it in the computer? The question is:
Please, yes.
you have
I
won the
would be
game.
very interested.
I haven't. I mean, I put it on the computer in the sense I have created a chess-based file, but I know that at this point he's winning.
Stick
But
the
somebody
engine
do it
analysis
now.
on.
At this point, this thing it is totally winning here. G3, it is totally winning. You can just push the pawn.
Can you not click on engine analysis and
I
just
can
click
click on
plus?
that. Okay, if you want. I'm telling you at this point I calculated it is winning, right? There is no
Right.
threat. After rook c8, just push the pawn, winning. What will I do? I'll go here, rook c2. Okay, the queen and the rook alone is not going anything. I'll just push b7.
Yeah.
This is winning, right? What will I do? Or a6 and a7 is also coming, and it's not holdable for black at all.
Yeah, it does look bad. For
You're
them.
right. This is This is the.
He
that's-
should not
that's-
have got afraid. There is no point of playing g3 because if I come here, there is no need to react with g3 because if suppose
Yeah, there's no threat.
after rook c7,
Yeah.
he should not. What he did was he played the move g3 because
He took
should
his
not
eye off
create-
the ball, didn't he?
Yeah, because if I play queen h4, I mean, after suppose he plays
Doesn't do
anyway,
anything.
b6 is a tempo. Suppose he plays this.
Yeah.
I cannot play queen h4 because if he plays, I play queen h4, he should not react with g3
No,
because then queen
just
h3
leave
will
it.
be strong. Just
Carry
leave it.
on with the pawns.
Carry on with the pawn. So it is like unnecessary to play g3 because I will switch the plan. What I did was that the moment he played g3 here, I got the complete control and I'm penetrating. Here also he is winning. But
Yeah.
again, he got scared, terrified here. This is also at this point, white is winning. You can check later
Yeah.
on. This is
You
completely winning.
could tell rook f1 seemed like a wrong move, couldn't you?
Yeah. Because he realized that, okay, at this point, I'm threatening to enter. He cannot prevent the rook c2 thing. So he should have calculated, but now the time is less and
He
he
should have
couldn't calculate.
calculated. You're right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but you know what? When you have less than 5 minutes, less than
Oh,
Yeah,
we've all done it 1,000 times. But
no, it is winning for white. I'm not saying that. Okay, it is black is holding or anything.
it's not
Black is
every
lost.
game that's submitted to. I mean, even the
But
world
it was a
championship.
nice tactics that the knight and the rook and the queen on the 7th rank combined to give this thing that after. I mean, he played queen b6. He is accepting the perpetual. I had not seen the perpetual, but the moment I played queen c2, then I saw it. Okay, it's a
That's
perpetual.
interesting. To be honest, that's interesting. I mean,
Yeah,
you-
it's interesting. I realized that I should not be greedy. Like what
shorter
Martin-
time. But what move could you have played that was better?
No, I don't think I have anything better than this.
So
What
you're
can I-
saying that black has to play queen c2 to force a draw.
Yeah. What will I do? What else can I do?
Oh,
I-
yeah,
I don't know.
that has to be
If I don't play
Best
queen
of the
c2,
bunch. Come on.
if
Yeah.
I don't play
yeah.
queen c2,
No, you're
there's
right.
nothing.
You're right. The pawns are too strong. The queen's supporting them on b6. You've had it.
Yeah. So only
got to-
hope is queen c2. Okay. I mean, I was playing very quickly in 10 seconds.
So,
just to put-
so let me make a controversial move now.
yeah.
Rook f2.
Rook f2. Rook f2.
Knight takes.
Knight takes, right? Or I can even throw. Okay, 1 minute. Rook f2 will lose here.
No,
Other
it doesn't.
will lose for
Has to lose.
white actually.
I was trying to think of something that would change the
Queen is
perpetual
okay.
check,
Queen
but it
bishop
doesn't.
Queen
No.
bishop battery is there. One thing is one has to. I can throw in a check or okay. I will take the rook here probably.
So we take back.
Take back. Okay.
Then what do you do? So it's interesting move, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an interesting move certainly. 1 second. 1 minute. I
No,
have
no, White's fine. You just carry on pushing the pawns. Providing you're not mated.
Yeah, but White's trying to win, not draw.
yeah. White is trying to win. It's
Accept what you say.
not going for a. Okay, so
Take the rook, recapture with the bishop.
we capture the bishop. Throw
Uh,
in a check.
So
Come to king g2, right?
I
So
think
what?
White's
Okay, you will
winning
get
now.
you will get in trouble. What will you do here?
King
Okay.
g2.
Can we put the queen on b3 and try and take some pawns?
And I have move like queen here also, checking on.
Oh, now you're getting clever.
I like it.
Now we go for the perpetual check.
Yeah, because these pawns will not create a escape square for the king. Okay,
No.
in fact, you will get mated.
It was a nice try though.
Yeah.
Rook f2.
Correct. So I don't think that this rook f2 will hold on for white. Okay, these pawns now for the first
There
time in
wasn't
the
much
game.
else.
The pawns are very deadly. The king has no escape square around this, right? The light squares are totally covered.
Well, what else could you do?
So
What if you do
hang on,
rook
try
f2 and
bishop.
check instead? Yeah, bishop b1.
How about bishop
rook b1.
f2?
Here you are telling Robert what you are
Yeah,
telling.
check instead with the
The check is
rook.
also one line which has to be calculated, okay? Because it might be losing after
gosh.
you come here, right?
I think it just wins. Yeah,
Black
knight
will
check
win.
on knight e.
Oh, look, you've got
Ah.
knight e1.
Yeah, knight
you
e1.
got
Knight e1 or even this move because queen h1 is the threat.
Yeah, and g1.
No, but then you have to check because otherwise it's a draw.
Okay. Check. You're telling. Yeah. This check is very, very deadly. What will you do?
Good point. You
That
got to
surely
check.
is
Double check is
curtains.
coming.
No, that's horrible for White. That's horrible.
That's what I mean, in a practical game, imagine you can't play a move
No,
which
that's
looks
losing now.
which you will start kicking
I'd
yourself.
like to
okay,
see
after
his face if that
What
happens.
about bishop f2 instead of rook f2?
I'm
I'm just trying to block the mate.
These moves look very okay. So
Oh
let's
yeah,
see.
because you can bring your queen back or
Rook
just-
b1.
Rook
that work?
b1. Yeah, rook b1 is no. This queen is
The point
no,
is
then the queen-
James has just made the point that if knight
have to
takes,
check.
queen takes,
yeah okay.
and then
So
we're winning.
so here again, if I take with the knight, then what will you do?
Queen takes.
Queen takes. Okay, queen is coming back, but your pawn is then the pawns will drop. Okay, in the worst case, at one pawn is dropping, so one has to see. Hold on. In
Sure,
this
but
case-
it's not losing and it's not drawing, is it? I don't know.
You're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
It's just continuing.
correct.
Yeah.
So
it's
here
just a game.
rook b1, right?
Yeah, but the great
not
thing
sure.
about White's moves is he's always got the perpetual check.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
good
so
to-
white has perpetual here now.
Yes.
So I don't think that's right.
Yeah, but it's no worse than what happened.
Yeah. So I mean,
Oh,
see,
true.
correct. What bishop f2 is definitely a try. He could have tried, but you have to have. I mean, this will require calculation because if it is incorrect, then you have thrown the game to. I mean, you've thrown away the game.
Yeah,
I
and if
see
you're
what you're
short
saying.
of
I see what
time-
you're
if
saying,
short of
Martin.
Time you can't do it.
I see what you're saying now, Martin.
Bishop
You're,
f2 might
you're
be the correct
drawing
move.
anyway. You
Yeah,
have to
drawing
If I've
draw.
got, if
So
I've
try
got
and
the
make
draw,
black
I'm
make a
going to
mistake.
try.
Yeah,
I'm going to try anything to not get the draw. So bishop f2.
I think bishop
Worth a
f2
try.
looks like a good try.
Bishop f2
Yes, of course
certainly
it
looks
is.
like a good try. One thing, what about move like queen e2, queen f3 sort of idea? You have to black has to play on the light squares now, if possible.
So what would you do here, Sid, if this was played against you?
Okay, let me think, because I was only thinking that he cannot play this, but okay. So takes rook, I mean knight f2, rook. Okay, knight f2, queen f2. You're telling, right?
Yes, definitely queen F2.
Yeah. So because the end game is winning, right? Knight f2. This is winning. If I trade the queens here, it is winning for you.
Winning for who?
Winning for white, because this
Yes.
pawn is, you'll play rook a2, and this pawn will.
Except rook takes d5.
No, rook d5. This pawn is very advanced.
Oh, yeah.
It's not
So
about
rook
the
has-
number in this
Yeah,
rook
no,
end
that
game.
does look. It does. Well,
Rook
it's
a2.
not officially winning because the rook can stop the a pawn, and then the king can come over fairly quickly. 1, 2, 3 moves, and
But this also has
I
to be
think
calculated.
I think the problem is that white
This also has
doesn't
to be
have to
calculated.
bring the king to the a pawn, but black does.
yes, good point. Yeah.
So,
But
but
We've got the e4 pass pawn though defended.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. This also has to be calculated, because black's king will also start
Yeah.
marching, and this pawn might get lost, and then you have to work on the king pawn ending. So I'm not sure whether the transition to the rook ending is
You need to stick the engine on a couple of moves back from here.
here at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah,
Okay,
stick the engine on.
Let me see the engine.
And we're running out of time now, but let's
Yeah.
have a quick look. Let's have a quick look. I mean,
No, it is saying 0. At this
Ah.
point, it is a draw.
right. So
well, this yeah,
just
because
try the bishop f2 move, because we know that's probably wrong then.
Bishop f2 is also
It's still
equal.
draw.
draw.
Okay. Yeah. So it was a bold attempt by white, but it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
So go back a couple of moves.
Before that, it will certainly be losing. Okay, I'll keep it on for your benefit.
Yeah, keep the engine on and go back a couple of moves.
Okay, before queen c2. I think before queen c2, it's lost.
No, it's still
No,
a
no,
draw.
no. This is my turn. Before queen b6, I mean. At this point, rook b2. Here also it is, see, he has wasted some moves, and it is not easy now. He has wasted
No,
two moves.
at what point was white winning and threw it away?
I think
G3 lost
G3 and
it,
rook
yeah.
f1. G3, rook f1.
Rook f1 definitely. So
I just
go
think
to-
B6
go
with
to
Let me
tempo.
go
rook
back
F1.
to before this. This is certainly winning here at
one
rook
move
c7.
back.
32
B6
rook
with tempo
c7.
is just
See,
so
winning.
strong.
Yeah,
Here
b6
we
with
go.
tempo is totally winning, right?
Yeah.
So-
This is
Yeah.
white went wrong.
Yeah, because the g3, I think, still winning. After g3, also
Okay,
it will
try
win.
that.
Now it
No.
has suddenly dropped. Still plus 1 point.
Yeah,
Plus,
that's not enough though. So G3
not enough. Not enough.
G3
Yeah.
throws the game away.
Yeah, he got
That's-
scared. But here
mind you,
1.66.
It's just some rook b7.
Yeah, it is.
It's fascinating what
The engine is still showing
come up with.
white is quite ahead.
White is
1.94
still
is
winning.
winning. But after this queen c8, he is still ahead. Rook
Yeah.
f1
That's
is
the mistake.
now 2 mistakes in conjunction. Generally, mistakes happen in pairs, right? And here still it is saying this. Okay, rook c2. Queen a7 c is now it is plus 0.8. I'm not very sure, but
No,
he
it's draw
makes
now. Draw.
draw. a5 is draw. Because the system is telling to play not rook b2 but rook a2, not giving it a chance to do the sacrifice.
It's very
also.
strange when you put the computer on.
Yeah, but it was correct. We knew that g3 and rook
Yeah.
rook f1 is not
We
correct.
knew rook f1 looked strange and didn't look right. And
Correct, and we
probably
also
wasn't the
knew
best
that
move.
g3 is not required. b6 is coming
Yeah.
with tempo. White
Yeah.
pawns are marching
good.
so fast. No need to prevent every idea
No.
from black. You don't
Hey,
have
good.
that much time.
That's brilliant, Sid, and we're out of time. So
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I hope there were a lot of mutual errors, I mean, especially from my side, but it was an interesting game, and I wanted, objectively, I think I was totally lost at most of the part, but I wanted to just
Yeah,
demonstrate my thinking process.
you fought back and you got the draw, and the thinking process through, well, the opening with the Sicilian and the variation was good, and some of the middle game stuff was a bit tricky.
Correct.
So
One
good.
thing one reference I will just, Martin, I will just take 1 minute, that there are 2 or 3 good references you can use. On the Chessable site, Anish Giri has a fantastic course on Najdorf. So there's 45-minute free version available. You can look at it multiple times. And then if you want to buy it, it's a 24-hour video from Anish Giri, excellent resource. Then our own Danny King has Power Play 18 on ChessBase.
Yeah.
That's a paid one. And then on YouTube in ChessBase India, when you look at it, Anish has again presented the Najdorf, okay, about 1.5 hours. That is also a good resource.
Right.
And some free resources are available on the St. Louis Chess Club. I think there's National Master Caleb Denby. He has taken 2-3 lectures on Najdorf. You can refer that also.
Very good.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank
hey,
you.
look, thank you for spending the time to go through that.
Yeah,
I think
thank
it's
you, Martin.
interesting. And we'll put the edited video on the Camberley Chess Club YouTube site.
Yeah.
And we'll have another meeting in a month.
Yeah, thank you. See you. Hope it was good. Bye.
Yeah.
Hope it was useful.
It was. Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.